An overview of Devachan, a quick blast of Theosophy by Dave Marsland of Cardiff Theosophical Society. Devachan occupies a central place in Blavatsky Theosophy as the post-mortem state in which the higher aspects of the human being possess and assimilate the results of earthly life. It is not presented as a material location or a conventional afterlife paradise, but as a subjective condition of consciousness shaped by karma, memory and spiritual development. In this sense, Devachan functions as a continuation of inner life after death, rather than a separate realm detached from the person's own mental and moral history. The experiences associated with Devachan arise from what the individual has most deeply cultivated in life, especially the aspirations, affections and ideals that carry genuine spiritual value. Theosophical writers describe Devachan as a state of rest, fulfillment and inward fruition, because it allows the soul to dwell on the noblest outcomes of its own experience. Rather than confronting the full complexity of earthly existence all at once, consciousness in Devachan is said to absorb the essence of what was meaningful, good and enduring. This makes Devachan fundamentally selective. It does not reproduce life in its totality, but distills it into the most elevated and harmonious elements. For Blavatsky, this process helps explain why death is not an end, but a necessary phase in the larger cycle of spiritual evolution. The soul must pass through this interval in order to gather the results of one incarnation before moving toward another. Within that broader framework, the distinction between rupa and arupa becomes especially important. These two conditions represent different levels of Devachanic experience, moving from form-bound imagery to a more abstract and refined state of consciousness. The arupa period is therefore not an isolated doctrine, but part of a larger account of how the human being gradually sheds the residues of personality and rests in the purified content of spiritual individuality. Understanding Devachan as a whole is essential to understanding why the arupa phase matters. It shows the highest stage of post-mortem assimilation, where the soul is no longer occupied with the symbols of earthly life, but with the inward reality, those symbols only partially expressed.